Let's talk about long and short cuts. Shortcuts, not really shortcuts to be good, but the range of the cut. So let's say this is my range now. I'm barely able to touch the tree. So if I'm cutting, my tip is kind of hitting that tree. So that's my range. But you can see that if I point down, I can't hit the tree. So I'm out of range, even though this is the long cut. So my arm is straight, every joint is extended, so this is the maximum reach here. But this is not something you want to do every time. So you have to be able to change your cut length based on where your opponent are or is. So this would be like the maximum range tip cut to the face, or if I put some weight on my leg, I can of course go lower, but anyway, this is like the long range cutting, and meaning that all the joints are more or less straight over here. You can do also horizontal or upward, it doesn't matter, even straight down. So this is your maximum reach without moving or weight shifting. But then if you are closer to your opponent, let's say over here, there is not much point in cutting the long range cut, because then I would be hitting with this lower part of the sword closer to hilt, and these are quite often blunt. So I would be doing maybe some damage. This will hurt, of course, if you get this to the face. Sure, not nice. And then I might be even hitting with the cross guard over here. So that's different story. But if I want to hit with the blade, this doesn't make any sense. So then if I'm doing the cross cut from the long distance, so with the tip hitting, if I move closer, doesn't make any sense. So I will make a shortcut. I'm still hitting with the tip, but now I'm hitting here. See? So it's like this. Of course I can hit lower as well. But it's like my hand is now here. It's not here, it's here. I'm still hitting with the tip. I'm just really close here. And if we move like super close, now this becomes small of a problem, but I can still hit with the tip. The problem here might be that it's going to be a little bit difficult to hit low. So I'm kind of restricted unless I go with the upward cuts. But I'm more like restricted into hitting the face here. And actually I've done this in sparring. So if I'm really close, I can still hit like this. Not too much recommended, but just to understand that we have the long cuts here, then we have the short cuts, let's say here, or super short in here if you need to. Right? And there are different ways we can do it also. So I was talking earlier about the shoulder, elbow and wrist cutting. So then the distance of the cut, so this was the range of the cut, but then the distance of the cut, so how long way the tip moves. So these are like long distance, so we are traveling a long way. We are now using the shoulder, so I'm coming in here, huge power cuts. Then I can put it to elbow. So even though we have still the same range, I'm now cutting from the elbow. So my shoulder is not so much working here. Right? And then finally I can do the same cuts with the wrist. Then it's like this. So the use of these will depend on how much power do you need and where you are cutting. Are you cutting through clothing, or are you cutting here in the thumb or wrist area, because then you would only just have to do this tiny slice. You can do it with the wrist. But if you need more power, you have to go through the clothing, for example, then you might have to cut from the elbow. And if the opponent is wearing armor, you have to power in everything in order to cut through mail, for example, those iron rings. And even so, it's going to be quite difficult. So when you're practicing solo, practice the long cuts, but then also the middle cuts. So sometimes long, sometimes shorter. And you can do it like if you have a pail like this, you can move. You can move like cut long, then you move closer. You cut here, move here, the longer. So you can change the range, and I think this is important to understand. And then the wrist or elbow or shoulder, you need to figure out what you want to use in which situation. Okay, so even though it's a cross cut, for example, it can be long or shorter cut, or it can be done with just the wrist. But you see the basic technique, so this is still a cross cut. This is a cross cut. This is a cross cut. Cross cut, cross cut. The basic techniques are the same, but it's just how many joints are you putting into play and how far away do you want to hit. You can vary those, but the underlying basic technique remains the same. Okay, hopefully it wasn't too complicated. So try it out and let me know what you think.